Hello, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Sean. Welcome to part two with this really cool Electra. Did a little bit of research and got some information from Mark. It looks like these were all made prior to 1984, which is really cool. So this thing's in exceptional shape, I think, considering. Sorry about that. But today, first thing I want to do is check and see if this neck has stayed straight, because it seemed to fall right into place. So since it is so old, let me get you in a good spot. I wanted to let it sit overnight and just see. So it's pretty early in the morning here. I just got back from my walk. Did about 4 miles this morning. Saw 7 different bunnies. 7 bunnies. That was fun. Yeah, this thing's still nice and flat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take a little more off. See if it's still flat. Yeah, so the truss rod's working fine because it has just the tiniest bit of relief now. So that's what I wanted to see. Engage it just a tiny bit. Yeah, let's say that's pretty perfect. I think we'll be in good shape. So the longest and most tedious thing on this is going to be cutting the nut. I mean, obviously, when this came out, they didn't even make strings as heavy as Mark uses. So we're going to have to do quite a bit of work to the nut, although the nut looks to be good quality and in good shape. It may have been changed in the past just because there's some glue seepage, but that's just cosmetic. Tuners all seem good. I'll put some oil on those. Normally, I would use a guard and get all these frets with 4/0 steel wool, but this is so scraped up and dirty. I am going to just get the whole fingerboard because it needs it. What I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to get a lot of stuff. Put a t-shirt under it so that it'll be easier clean up for me. I'm going to do a lot of sanding or something like that. I try to cover up my mat here. All right, hang on. Let me get a big piece of steel wool. Okay, I got a pretty good size piece here, and I'm just going to cut this. I found this works best. I also taped off the pickup down there so I didn't get a whole bunch of shavings stuck to the magnet. It's a pain to clean up, and I guess it could possibly hurt the pickup. I mean, I've never had that happen, but I've heard it can. No reason to take any chances. So like I say, normally I would cover this fretboard, but this fretboard needs it as much as the frets. So, and that's the good thing about this 4/0 steel wool is you can clean almost anything with it, and it's so fine that it doesn't really hurt much. What a difference that's making on those frets. There's 2 small indentions, and I mean, you're not even going to be able to tell them. They're so small, especially after I polish this really well. I don't think it needs a fret leveling, and these are pretty low frets anyway. I mean, that's how they were back then. So I wouldn't want to take too much material off if we don't have to. All right, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to get this entire fretboard and frets with this 4/0 steel wool. Then we'll vacuum it really well. I'll hit it probably with some naphtha, because I'm sure it's going to need it, and then we'll hydrate it. All right, what a huge difference. Huge difference already. I'm gonna vacuum this up, so if you have headphones on, be aware. Yeah, you gotta have a little vacuum on you at your workspace. There we go. That's easy clean up. Oops, I apologize. Easy clean up, and then I can just throw this right in the wash. I need to do laundry tomorrow anyway. One more time. Fingerboard already looks tremendous comparatively. All right, so I'm going to clean this with some naphtha. And for those of you just wondering, it's safe cleaner. You can use it on any finish, as far as I know, and yeah, it's just lighter fluid. So that stuff works fantastic. Keep in mind, actually, let me use this. If you do clean your fretboard with it, which I'm going to do right now because it's pretty dirty, even after I got most of it up. You will have to hydrate it when you're done because it'll dry it out. But I mean, that's our plan regardless. So, and all I do is squirt a little bit on. I like to use a t-shirt, or if not, a little some type of micro mesh or something like that, microfiber towel. That. All right, so I'm going to go through and clean this, and then we'll hydrate it. Okay, man, what a difference. So I am going to hydrate this. I normally use my Dunlop 65. This is so dry, and I mean, just Lord, it's from the early 80's. Who knows how it's been maintained all this time? Mark just got it, but I'm going to use my favorite, which is literally a food grade mineral oil. It's cutting board oil. You cannot beat it. It will really, really, really make your fretboards happy, and you can get it, any store, which is nice. And I'm just gonna rub it in everywhere, and you just want to get a lot of it on there, especially when it's this dry. Yeah, keeping in mind this was already pretty dry, but we just cleaned it with the naphtha, so we'll let that mineral oil sit on there. I mean, you can use a lot of different products to hydrate rosewood or ebony. You don't have to hydrate maple. In fact, it won't do any good. Just clean it. But mineral oil is one of the best, simply because it won't go rancid. So if you use some kind of vegetable oil or something like that, it could go bad. And this won't. So we're going to let that sit. Probably, you know what? I'm probably going to let it sit for about 15 minutes. That's really going to look good after that. So in the meantime, let's get a couple little things done. You can untape this pickup. Let's go ahead and well, I don't want to turn it over yet. I was going to say we can oil these tuners, but I want to keep it on its back. Wipe it down. So I know what. Here's one thing we can definitely do. You can start lowering this action because it's going to have to go way down, and I'll kind of guess at it because really that is the next. That's the next step. Let me get an Allen wrench. All right, and I'm just taking this action way down. I don't know. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, obviously, without having strings on it, but I'll make a good guess. It'll make life a little easier when I string it up. One thing that a lot of people do and you don't want to do is they will radius, which you can see, someone did it here, they will radius their saddles. You don't want to do that. You want to radius the strings, but you want the saddles to be flat. That way you're going to get proper intonation. So, I mean, you want your strings to have whatever radius that your fretboard is, which in this instance is a 12-inch radius. But keep both sides of your saddle even height. All right, so let me do this, and we'll let this sit for a few minutes. And then all that's really left to do is to start working on the nut. And, you know, make sure everything's tight, oiled. And we'll also, I'm going to work on putting these on. Okay, so I put a little bit of a penetrating oil on these fittings here. Kind of tight. Let that sit on there. It'll take care of it. I mean, they work, but they're, again, they're old. Like me. All right, I'm going to let that sit. And we will take care of this fretboard and string it up and work on the nut. Okay, I think we can go ahead and wipe this off. Oh man, I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but what a difference. It's a good looking fretboard. The factory starts with an M. I would butcher the pronunciation, I'm sure anyway. But the Japanese factory that made these is very renowned, and for making quality stuff. One thing I always thought was cool about Electra, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, because I don't find a whole lot of information. But from what I remember from being a kid, I had an Ibanez Les Paul copy, and you know a lot of my friends had Arias and some other types. But the one thing about the Electra, I mean, the kids that had the Electra Les Paul copies, they all looked great and sounded great, but they seemed to retain their own type of headstock and their own logo. I mean, more so where, you know, if you're standing far enough away from an Ibanez or an Aria, it would, you know, you could mistake it for a Gibson. It would, you know, look close enough. But I don't think Electra did. It seems like they always kept their own identity quite a bit, which I think is really cool. All right. All right, that looks good. Nice dark rosewood. So let's go here and take a look at this nut. I know we're going to have to file it some, so I'm going to file it just a little before I even put the strings on. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick little file. I know I need to open up the top a little. So I'm just going to do that. I don't want to go very deep without the strings on. We'll have to open the top up. For these big strings to go through, Mark wants this tuned C standard. So it's always fun. He has a lot of basses tuned this way. All right, so let me just open these up a little. I don't think I have to go too deep as long as I can get them opened up. And then I'll get the strings up and we'll take a look at everything. Okay, so I put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on the tuners. I do have it tuned up. My my little setup was my guest setup. It was pretty close. It's really not too bad. It's playing pretty nicely right now. But I do definitely need to cut this nut more. But before we do that, let's go down here, because what I want to do is set this up appropriately before I cut the nut. So this is a 12-inch radius. Oh, pretty close. I mean, honestly, pretty close. So these two need to come down just a little. And then it all might need to come down or go up. I'm not sure. Probably not go up. I promise I can get it in there. There we go. I just want to get this pretty darn close. Might have to put some penetrating oil in this one. There, and that stuff works pretty quickly. Just kind of work it back and forth a little. I mean, who knows when the last time this was adjusted was. And once it kind of breaks free, I'll give it another squirt. Just a tiny bit. It doesn't take much. Wiggle it around. All right, it's moving pretty nicely now. So that looks about right. And I already soaked these. These were really seized up. I say soaked. I just literally like that. So I'm gonna wipe that off. All right, good enough for right this moment, because we're going to see how close we are. I'd say that is on. So let me see where we're at as far as our string height. Okay. Let's see here. It's just a tiny bit above 2. right at 2, maybe a little below, which is what I'm shooting for. Again, right at 2, a little below, between 1.75 and 2. Between 1.75 and 2, so just I want the E string to come down just a hair. I think we're good with the rest. Hey, oops. I think that's us. Almost. I don't even think I have to measure it because I know it's there. Yep. All right, let's tune this up and then make sure we don't have any fret buzz or anything. Okay, all tuned up, and I'm going to set the intonation. The action is good, but before I set the intonation, I want to go ahead and finish this nut. So I'm going to go through and just open this up a little. It's not too far off. Once I opened it up the first time, it really helped, but this is going to make it play wonderfully. I want to be able to get that his action as low as possible. With these tunings, it's a challenge to dial it in as low as I want them sometimes. So we're up to C. That's almost where I want it. So I'm going to go through and finish all these. Okay, so nut is all cut nicely. And let's take a look and see if the neck is still straight. I gave it one little tweak after I put the string tension on it. Ooh, that looks good. I'm going to give it one more little quarter turn. And since this is tuned so low, I'm not even going to worry about taking any string tension off. I think that takes us right where we need to go. Hang on, let me tune this up. We'll set the intonation. All right, let's see where we're at here. And again, I eyed this up. Got that one right on. I mean, most of the time anymore, I can eye them up and know that they're pretty close. The saddles, that is. All right, so that all feels good. Looks good. I'll plug this in. That feels good. I think the pickup height, again, I just eyed it up, but I think it. I think I'm going to raise the string just a tad. Just a tad. I mean, barely. That should be enough. I see, actually, I was a little off anyway. These might settle just a tiny bit too. It's been a long time since they've been adjusted. There we go. All right. So the only thing that we have left to do is to install these suckers. So hang tight. We'll do that and we're done. All right. There's already a hole here, but it wasn't the right size. I may have to fill this after I drill it, which is weird, but we'll see. Let's see here, this may just be okay. I don't know. Okay. That one is installed. Now the other one, what's up? The other one was already partially put on here, which is not what I would have done. But since the hole is already there, I'm going to see if I have a screw that will fit. Because I thought about just taking one of the screws out of the neck, but that's not going to be the right diameter, and I want to keep this if I can, because that seems to be important. That would be ideal, though, get an extended screw, but it's not going to be the right size. So let me see if I have a screw that will work, and we may be able to just use that. If not, we'll have to re-drill something. Hang on, let me see what I have. Okay. Hey, I ended up having a screw that actually works perfectly. All right. Those are on. All right. This beast is done. Man, this has been fun to work on. I like this thing. I really do. So I might do a play through with it maybe tomorrow or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, right now it's all set up. Thanks for hanging out with me while I did this. Please have a great day or evening whenever you're watching. Put in the comments if you've ever seen one of these, and or if you have any, like, I don't know, any experience with Electra or West Tone. I believe they ended up being the same company or same factory at all. I'd like to know. I had an Electra 335 copy guitar when I was in high school for a while, as a backup, and I ended up getting rid of it. I wish I would have kept it. I don't know. I just shouldn't have. But anyway, please like, subscribe, listen to Rifle every day. Playlists right here. All the Rifle music is there for you. Rock on. Love one another.